I turned 20 and I knew that bad things were gonna happen. So I had to scoot across the parking lot and poop on the side of the parking lot. Yeah. What is up, y'all? It's Elise and we are finally back. I am ready to give you guys a brief life update, and it is my goal to post weekly vlogs on YouTube. That was obviously my goal at the beginning of the school year, and then YouTube took a back seat and school took the front seat, and I still didn't do as well as I thought I would on either of them. But you know what? It is what it is. We create goals and expectations, and you know, I always have really advantageous goals. I think it's important to shoot for the stars and land on the moon, which is exactly what I did this year. So let's just recap this school year, because I started posting like my first week of college and then I completely stopped. I have a lot to talk about. So first of all, the reason I even have so much time right now to work on my YouTube channel and social media is because I broke my leg. So basically, long story short, short story long, I broke my leg in March. I created a list of things I wanted to do this year in every month and running a marathon in March, and I wanted to run a marathon before March was over. So like any wise person would do, I just signed up for a marathon. So also I have Sebastian here with me, by the way. But yeah, David Goggins is my life inspo and he runs on broken legs. So obviously I had to run on broken legs too. Anyway, marathon happened in March. That is when crap hit the wall, crap hit the fan. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, I can't believe we're approaching June right now, and this video will probably be uploaded in June. I'm just gonna have a real honest conversation because that's what my YouTube channel is for. And my birthday happened. I turned 20 and I knew that bad things were gonna happen. And sure enough, they did. Because instead of doing what I normally do for my birthday, which is go on like a day trip or something and then eat a lot of unhealthy food, I was like, I want to start a tradition where I run that amount of miles on my birthday. So for my 20th birthday, I wanted to run 20 miles. But then I was like, I actually want to run a marathon because I've been running a lot, and I wasn't like actually marathon training per se, but I would go on weekly long runs, progressively getting longer and longer. And I think a lot of it had to do with the content that I consume is a lot of like ultra endurance athletes who are running like ultra marathons and stuff. And so I kind of forgot that like going from no running to running like a marathon can surely take a toll on your body, and especially from my background of being more focused on bodybuilding and keeping a lean physique and all of that, I certainly was not fueling adequately. I would say I was stressing my body on many different levels, and it's really hard because, like I said, I am inspired by a lot of people who are, you know, hybrid athletes who are weightlifting and running on the same days and like doing all of this and that. I'm like, if they can do it, I can. I wasn't listening to my body, and I think I knew that I had stress fractures lingering for a really long time, and I was just overlooking it and avoiding it, and I didn't really want to worry about it. And I thought if I ran a marathon, I thought it would hurt, but I didn't think it would like kill me, which it didn't. But you know, I thought it would take maybe like a couple days of not doing much, but no. So my stress fractures were so bad that they were pretty much complete fractures by the time I finished the marathon. And I was running also like so much faster than I had ever trained for. For the first 20 miles, I was running at like an 8:30 pace, and I had been training at like a 10-minute pace, or like sometimes more than that, you know what I mean? For my long runs, like my longest run was 18 miles. I think my pace was like 11 or 12 minutes, but I would like rest and stuff. But this was literally like, I was going so quickly. When the first group of people took off, I was like, oh, those are the fast ones. And then I didn't see like anybody behind me. So I literally thought I was the very last person for like miles. Like up until mile 15, I was so alone. The other people there had said it was like the loneliest marathon they've ever ran because it was pretty small and you're just like on these trails. And I was like honestly a little bit scared, I think. And so I was like going quickly. I was like, I cannot just like be all by myself out here. And little did I know, there was like a bunch of people behind me, but I didn't see them. Like, they were far behind me. Yeah, so anyway, I was going really quickly. Mile 20 hit and my AirPods died, and this pain just started shooting up my leg, and I was like, this hurt so bad. Pretty sure I started crying. Anyway, long story short, mile I think 22 or 24 is when I just had to walk the rest of it, and it wasn't even like walking, it was literally like limping. Like, every step was like the most painful thing I've ever felt in my life. And it wasn't just like cramps, it wasn't just like, oh, my muscles are sore. It legit felt like my leg was broken. So I went to the doctor after that, and they were like, yeah, you probably just have shin splints. I can't even explain how bad it hurt. When we drove home, I like couldn't even get out to go to the bathroom. I couldn't even hop on the other leg. Like, it hurt so bad. So I had to scoot across the parking lot and poop on the side of the parking lot. Yeah, it hurt so bad. I went to the doctor again, and they also told me I had shin splints. Like, a couple weeks later, I went to the doctor again. This doctor was an actual orthopedic doctor, and he was like, yeah, you have stress fractures. And I was like, okay, that's pretty much what I've been saying this whole time. This doctor basically told me that I could wear a boot and have crutches, and I was like, okay, sounds good. Because before then, I was keeping weight off of it because I physically could not put weight on it. It wasn't even, I wasn't just like trying to rest it. It was like, it was unbearable to put any sort of weight on it. Like, so he gave me a boot. He said I could do whatever doesn't cause pain or whatever. And I was like, okay, literally everything causes pain. So he was like, okay, you can do crutches too and just keep weight off of it. But he also seemed like he was kind of made it just seem like not a big deal. I don't know. From my perception, I was just like, okay, I feel like I'm just having like a low pain tolerance. That's how I felt during this entire time. I was just like, oh, I guess I just have like a really low pain tolerance because nobody seems like it's that big of a deal or anything. I was following what he said. I was doing crutches and a boot, and I wasn't putting weight on it. There were times where I'd like walk around with the boot just because I thought that was okay, because he basically said like whatever doesn't cause pain, and like it would hurt, but I just thought like maybe I just have a low pain tolerance. I was like, I feel like I'm making a big deal out of nothing, so I was trying to like brush it aside. And yeah, anyway, I got really comfortable with the crutches because I was using them for literally like 6 weeks at this point. And I was going down the stairs, and I had my heavy backpack on, which is probably like 15 pounds. I weighed it once and it was like 15 pounds. And I literally fell down the stairs. And at this point, so I remember laying there and I was around people that I didn't know like super well. And so I was just trying to like keep it in and act like super tough. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm fine. I was just like laying there though. My like entire body was shaking. Like, I was in complete shock. I had like tears going down my eyes, but I wasn't like crying. It was just like a like automatic response, you know? Yeah, I was literally like, yeah, I think it's broken. They were like, are you okay? I was like, I'm fine. I think my leg's actually broken this time. So I called my friend. He picked me up. He was like, do you want to go to the emergency room? And I was like, no, honestly, because it hurts so bad and it feels like it's broken. And at this point I started crying because he's my friend. And yeah, I just like got in the car and I literally started bawling my eyes out because it hurt so bad. Like, I do feel like it's broken, but at the same time I felt like it was broken weeks ago. They just told me I had shin splints at first. I had been to the doctor at this point 3 or 4 times, and I was like, I do not want to go back just for them to tell me I have shin splints. Like, I already feel like such a loser anyway. Like, I have a low pain tolerance because so many people will be like, oh yeah, I had stress fractures. Yeah, like my sibling had stress fractures too, and like they just, you know, persevered through it and stuff. And so like I feel like such a like baby at this point anyway. And so I'm like, I'm literally not going back to the doctor. I did not go back to the doctor for like 4 days. And for those 4 days, I was legitimately like, it was hard to use the crutches. Like, I can't even explain. Like, it hurt so bad. I could tell that the bone was broken. I could just feel it. I was like, it literally just feels like it's broken in half, which it was. So then I went back to the doctor. They took an x-ray and it was completely broken. And they were like, yeah, it was probably like pretty much completely broken, and it just wasn't showing up on the x-ray because the outside of the bone, like your cells on the outside, is what is like last to break, or like it can be completely broken, but if it's not shifted out of place at all, you can't tell that it's broken. And this just goes to show that you need to advocate for your own health. It's really hard because, yeah, you do feel like a loser, and oh, I just have a really low pain tolerance. Like, there's so many people that run marathons and they're fine, and like I thought like, you know, maybe it just hurts really bad. I don't know. But when I tell you guys, like, it was no joke pain. Like, I have never been in pain like that before. It felt like my leg was being sawed off. It hurt so bad. Like, when I tell you I wasn't walking or bearing weight on it for like weeks, I literally just sat in my couch and like could not go anywhere. I couldn't even hop. I didn't have crutches for like a week, so I like was just not even moving at all. Like, I was scooting on the ground. Yeah, so then they gave me a splint, I got a cast, and now here we are. This has definitely been like a giant setback in my plan. You know, obviously I had stuff that I wanted to do this summer, and this school year I didn't get very good grades in my classes because I stopped going to like any of my classes because like for the first few weeks I could barely walk with the crutches. It was so hard to walk with the crutches. Now that it's been months, I'm like a lot better at walking with crutches, but yeah, I like didn't go to any of my classes, so I fell behind in school. I didn't get the grades I wanted to get. Honestly, it was just like my motivation completely went away. And I don't know, for me, exercise is such a part of my routine. It's like a vital part of my routine. And without it, I am just like sad and unmotivated. And it's like not even the exercise. Like, I could take a month off the gym and be fine, but it was also like the walking. Like walking is what clears my mind, you know? Running clears my mind, like all of these things. And instead I was just like laying on the couch. Yeah, it just definitely takes a toll. Like, while the injury isn't the worst injury that could happen, it's still like I can't bear weight on my leg. It really like limits everything you can do, and without like my outlet without like exercise as my outlet and like some like a goal to have and a goal to work towards, it was just like so challenging to feel motivated to do anything, I guess. And like every little thing I would just overthink it because I didn't have any other way to like use my energy because I wasn't working out. All my energy was going to overthinking, which that's like real. That is science backed. Like, people who aren't working out, they have more energy to like overthink things. Honestly, this whole thing, just my whole story time is just going to show to tell you that it's like the proverb, you can plan, let me look it up. Proverbs 16:9, a man's mind plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps. That's exactly kind of the lesson that I'm trying to share here that I've learned is, you know, we can plan our way, but the Lord will guide our steps. So there's a lot of cool things we can do in life, and we look at a lot of people, and I see people that, like I said, I compare myself to like ultra marathon runners and like Ironman runners or Ironman athletes and stuff, and you're just like, oh my gosh, they're like running and working out and like doing all this all day every day. Then you remember I'm also a college student. This is my first year in college, my first year living on my own. I think like the main thing, like another thing is, if you really want to succeed at like one thing in life, you really have to be laser focused on it. And like a lot of people that I've talked to who have like run marathons and stuff, they all talk about like how, you know, like marathon training is like such a big part of your life, and it like takes your whole life. And when they would talk about that, I would be like, yeah, like I don't feel like I really relate to that. And that's because I wasn't really like properly training for it. And that's like my biggest thing that I guess I don't regret, but you know, think that I should have done differently is like, if you're gonna run a marathon, like that has to be your focus. And I was kind of just doing like on the side of bodybuilding. Like, bodybuilding was my focus for the 2 months leading up to the marathon, and yet marathon training should have just been my focus up until then. So yeah, I don't regret that, but that's definitely what I would have done differently, is not focused on bodybuilding until the marathon was completely over, because I think that definitely impacted some things. Like, I was just definitely like overtraining my legs. I wouldn't even say I was like necessarily under fueling, but probably, because honestly, like if you're gonna run a marathon, you just have to expect that you're gonna gain weight. My eating habits have never been super healthy. Definitely in January is when it got really bad, and I don't know if I should talk about this in this video or save it for another video, but if you want me to talk about how I gained like 15 to 20 pounds in 1 month, I will definitely talk about that. I don't know, you guys, that is my story on how I broke my leg, I guess, and where I'm at. I wish that I had more to share in this video. I'm just honestly kind of tired, and what I'm doing now is I'm waiting for my cast to come off and then I'll start like working again. But I am hoping to work on my YouTube channel, hopefully like start posting again consistently, because that is something that I really want to do, is create content consistently, create weekly YouTube videos and do more like vlog style videos and create more Instagram content that I'm actually like proud of. So like later today, I think I want to make my feed a little bit more like aesthetic and then also come up with actual content ideas. If you guys want to know more about this or have any questions, I would definitely do another video. It's just kind of just the Cliff Notes version, but I wanted to share this with y'all and just say, you know, like, you're not alone if you're going through something similar, you know, if you're experiencing setbacks. I guess like the main thing I want to share with you is just that I am a very like average person. I'm not going to say I'm below average because I think that might offend people, but that's how I feel about myself. In every aspect of my life, I've never been super athletic, hence why I got a really bad stress fracture from running a marathon, because I didn't grow up running or anything like that. I've never been super smart. I did not get all A's this semester. I've never felt super attractive either. Yeah, that's okay, because honestly, all of those things are of this world. And I was just reading 1 John today, which talks about, you know, things of this world, and it's like, yes, like God created us to live here, and he created the Garden of Eden and it was perfect, and when God created the world, it was good, and the world is good in the sense that God created it, and sunsets are beautiful, and the ocean is beautiful, and the mountains are beautiful. You and me are beautiful because God created us. At the end of the day, the world is fading away. All of these standards we have about beauty and smarts and athleticism, it's all just fading away. We serve an eternal God, and our worth is not found in this world. And just like the proverb says, like, the Lord guides our steps, it's also like anything good about us or anything admirable about ourselves is all from God. And so, you know, if God wants you to be an ultra distance runner, then you will be. And if he doesn't want you to be, you won't be. At the end of the day, I do believe all things are possible with God if it's God's will. One last thing that I want to share with you guys is something that I always think about all the time when things don't go according to my plan. Like when something so completely, I don't know, like bad happens, something that you would completely not expect, completely different from your plan, from my plan, happens. I'm just, honestly, you know, I'll obviously be a little bit upset at first or have feelings like of sadness, but at the end of the day, I'm at so much peace knowing that if it's not my plan, obviously breaking my leg was not in my plan. I know for sure it's part of God's plan. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to question if it's God's plan. I know for sure it's God's plan because I know certainly it wasn't my plan. And so yeah, I'm just put at ease knowing that God is in control. Everything is part of God's plan. This isn't from the Bible, but there is a Chinese proverb, and it's called The Story of the Chinese Farmer. So let me share this with you guys as the last. Once upon a time, there was a Chinese farmer whose horse ran away. That evening, all of his neighbors came around. "We're so sorry to hear your horse has run away. This is most unfortunate." The farmer replied, "Maybe." The next day, the horse came back bringing 7 wild horses with it. And in the evening, everybody came back and said, "Oh, isn't that lucky? What a great turn of events. You now have 8 horses." The farmer again said, "Maybe." The following day, his son tried to break one of the horses, and while doing it, he was thrown and broke his leg. The neighbors then said, "Oh dear, that's too bad." And the farmer responded, "Maybe." Next day, the officers came around to draft people into the army, and they rejected his son because he had a broken leg. Again, all the neighbors came around and said, "Isn't that great?" Again, the farmer said, "Maybe." The whole process of nature is an integrated process of immense complexity, and it's really impossible to tell whether anything that happens is good or bad, because you never know what will be the consequence of the misfortune, or you never know what will be the consequences of good fortune. I think about that often too. I think of God's providence and just the fact that, you know, you can look at my broken leg and be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," but, you know, maybe not. Maybe it'll be a good thing. Maybe it'll be be a bad thing, but maybe it'll be a good thing, and maybe good things will lead to bad things. So we never know. Like, we can look at something and be like, oh, she broke her light, that's objectively bad, but we never know. It could be good, it could be bad. So I think everything happens for good for those who love the Lord and trust in him, and I think that God's will be done no matter what, and everything happens for a reason, and God is in control. But if you guys are interested in following along with my journey of healing and recovery, definitely give this video a like and subscribe. I'll be making hopefully some weekly vlogs. I'll get my cast off soon, and then I'll be recovering from having a broken leg and have to rebuild my quad and my whole leg actually. But that's gonna be a crazy journey, so I'm very excited about that. I'm gonna get back into bodybuilding and have quite a project underway to rebuild my quad, that's for sure. But in the meantime, I am gonna be working on growing my social media, growing my Instagram, so definitely follow my Instagram too, and just working on creating content that is educational and full and also relatable. I'm also getting back into drawing, so I think I'm gonna work on just doing some things that I love that don't require working out or anything. So yeah, anyway, I hope to see you guys in these next videos in these upcoming weeks. By the way, I don't think I ever introduced Sebastian, but this is Sebastian. He is my companion. All right, I'll see you guys. Bye.